with RxMuscle's March to the Olympia 2015, sponsored by Results Nutrition. I'm your host, Dave Palumbo, and we're here with our guest of the evening, RJ Shukoori, Canadian IFBB Pro. Welcome into the studio.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you for having me here.
We love you when we get the people right next to me because I can look you in your eye and I can see what really makes you tick.
Well, not much makes me tick, but if you let those snakes back there loose, I mean, that could get me going. So
Your girlfriend liked the snakes, though.
Yeah, she's taking pictures, and she loved the snakes.
Let's talk about who you are for a minute, because coming up in the men's physique ranks nowadays is difficult because there's so many guys.
Right.
Setting yourself apart from the rest of the pack and establishing yourself as an elite IFBB Pro is difficult now because we got kind of the established names. The hierarchy is there. You're coming in from Canada. There's not many high-ranking IFBB Pros there. You kind of made a big name for yourself this year, placing second at that Vancouver Pro, coming into Atlantic City, placing third. Controversially, a lot of people thought you could have been a little higher here. Now you qualified for the Mr. Olympia contest, and you'll be there in less than a week now. How does that feel?
Right. Honestly, it's an unbelievable feeling. It's a dream come true. As soon as I heard Mr. Olympia is going to have men's physique, I set my goal to compete there, and in just a little over a week, I'm going to be there competing as a men's physique pro. So it's a pretty great accomplishment for myself.
Absolutely is. Now, a lot of people would look at your physique, and say this guy had to have come from bodybuilding, but you really didn't.
Right. Well, that's how I initially started. I initially started training. We typically all train as bodybuilders. We train in the gym to grow and put muscle on. So I did start as a bodybuilder. I got up to Canadian Nationals as a bodybuilder, placed 5th there. And that's where I made a personal decision to step back because I didn't really want to live the bodybuilding style where I had to pack on the off-season muscle and the size. And we all know it's difficult to maintain that lifestyle. So I stopped. And then once I heard there's muscle model categories and men's physique categories coming along, that's when I transitioned over.
That's a tough decision to make, though, because, we all look in the mirror and we never think we're big enough. We all look in the mirror and see deficits in our physique. And at least most people's mindset is, I got to get bigger. I got to be. How do you say to yourself, I'm happy with the way I look. I have to just refine this.
Right. See, that's the thing. You have this envision of this goal and this physique that you want to get to. But personally, myself, I don't think I ever want to get there. I want to continue to work towards it. And because I know if I get there, then what's left there at that point for my well-being and my goals and stuff. So as a bodybuilder, physique athlete, I want to continue to aspire to have a better physique and kind of get there, but continue to set new goals and improve on my physique.
Was it tough though when you said to yourself, I'm going to put on a pair of board shorts and I'm going to do men's physique, because now you're not posing, it's just kind of like I have to impress people with the way I look standing there.
Right, absolutely. The first time I put on board shorts, it just didn't feel right, especially coming from the squared shorts that we wore as muscle models. You saw your whole physique, you saw your waistline, you saw the sweep in the quads, your lats flaring out. Not too big, as big as a bodybuilder, but not quite a fitness model either. So it felt weird at first. I had to continue to look in the mirror and tell myself, okay, this is the look. This is the look. This is going to be the look. So it was tough for the first year or so. It was really tough and difficult to get used to. But as time went on and as I looked in the mirror, it kind of fit. But it still didn't hit the spot for me. Well,
because you were doing this muscle model category in this other division organization. Then you came obviously back to the NPCI. Well, it's not NPC in Canada. What's it called?
It's the OPA.
OPA,
which streams into the IFBB, right?
Yeah, and once you got involved with that, obviously you realized you were going to have to do the board short thing. Now we're going to segue in a little bit. I'm going to ask you about the new division, classic physique, because that's right up your alley. But before we get to that, obviously we got the Olympia coming up. Now you contacted me to help you out a little bit with your diet.
Right.
I think it was right before the Vancouver show.
Right. Yep.
And we kind of made a few tweaks, and we, I was surprised because when you first sent me the pictures and we started working together, after maybe a week or so, I'm looking at these pictures. I'm like, this guy can win this show.
Right.
And because I saw the lineup, and you placed second next to Aaron,
Right.
legend, who it was a controversial, very close decision. How did it feel to get that close to pro victory? Because you were an amateur guy, and now you're in the elite pro ranks a year later, and you're looking at a pro victory possibly.
Right. I mean, first I want to start off by thanking you. You really took my physique and turned it into where I am today, and it was in a short period of time. So I want to thank you for that. But it was very close. I feel I could have taken that show, but sometimes the judges don't see it that way. So we always set new goals. We can always get better, and that pro victory would have been great, but a second, it's not bad. So
you and I kind of went back to the drawing board. We said, what, you need more points if you're going to go to the Olympia. The Atlantic City was coming up. It was a perfect fit. It was a first real I guess you could say test you would get, because you're going to see Steve Weinberger in the judging panel, and we wanted to see how they were going to like your physique. Obviously, third place there, having been relatively unknown, was a great victory for you. Even though a lot of people, myself included, I thought you could have easily have won the show. I don't think anyone would have complained had you walked away with that victory.
Right, and that's how I felt. I mean, some of the guys backstage thought that I would have won, or it could have gone either way, and nobody would have been upset if the top three was any different. And again, I came in close to 15 pounds bigger in less than 4 weeks. So I went from 180 in Vancouver to about 195 at that Atlantic City show. So my body just went, it just grew, and I got tighter, and my conditioning got better. So I feel like even now I'm improving. I'm 3 pounds heavier than I was in Atlantic City, and I just keep growing and getting bigger. So I'm like, what's going on here?
Well, when you say, it's funny, when you send me your updates, I'm like, I try to say very little because I don't want to get you too excited, because I'm like, this guy looks better and he's bigger. And, obviously feeding the body the right nutrients really helps. And I think that you weren't getting what you needed prior to that. And I think that your body is actually having a rebound and putting muscle on, which is amazing to think of this happening while you're doing a diet, actually.
Right. So. Yeah, calories are increasing. My training intensity is getting higher and better. So, and I'm feeling great. I mean, 8 days out, and I feel amazing. My food's up there. You're feeding me plenty of food. So,
is it intimidating going into an Olympia where there's kind of an established hierarchy? Like I said, you got the Jason Postons, you got the Sadiq Hadzovics, you got the Jeremy Buendias. It's a hard, top upper group there to break into, and obviously being a new guy to the Olympia stage. What is your mindset going into the show?
You know what? I feel like I belong there with the best of the guys. I've worked, for many years, getting myself to this point, so I feel like I belong up there in that stage alongside the best physiques in the world. And I'm just going to go up there. It's my first show there, first year at the Olympia. I'm going to do my best, enjoy the experience, and obviously go for a top spot, try to get that first call out, and see how I stand next to some of those top guys.
Now, when I watch you on stage, you're very comfortable up there. You seem like it's not like a chore for you. You feel like you're just flowing up there. Like if I had to go up there and do men's physique, I would look like a retard, because I could not, make myself look good knowing that I can't do anything, essentially. You seem comfortable doing nothing, which is, I think, what you have to be able to do when you're a men's physique guy. You have to be comfortable in your skin, so to speak.
Right. And it takes a lot of practice. Like I said, the first time I put on those board shorts, it didn't feel right. I felt like I needed to show legs. I felt like I needed to move on stage. But you mentally, you focus on what you need to do and what the judges want to see and what the criteria is. So it kind of just over time, it felt right, and I got comfortable as the shows went on. And my stage presence and my presentation got better over time.
Because some of these guys up there, I noticed, get very fidgety on stage, because I think they feel like they do have to do something, and it almost emanates or sends out like a nervous feeling. So when I'm watching guys like that, I get nervous, and I think the judges get nervous. So you exude confidence and calmness up there on stage.
Right. And yeah,
how do you practice that?
It just a lot of planks, a lot of core training, making sure I have full control over my abdominal, my obliques, my serratus. I do quite a bit of core training to make sure I can hold that pose. and then making it look natural is another talent and something that you got to work on and really practice. I practice 2-3 times per day on my posing, 5-10 minutes per day, and it just seems to have helped.
And how do you establish what you're going to do on stage? Whether you're going to put your hand on your hip, or you're going to turn around, or you're going to look back? How do you have someone who helps you with that, or do you just kind of do it yourself?
Well, I practice in front of my girlfriend. She'll watch and say, okay, hit this pose. That looks better. This looks good.
Right.
You're flexing your arm too much, so I kind of loosen up that way. It always helps having someone look at you and tell you.
Here's a question I like to ask a lot of guys who've come from bodybuilding too. What do women pay more attention to you now that you're a men's physique guy, as opposed to when you're a bodybuilder, or did you get more attention when you were a bodybuilder?
You know what? I think this is gonna sound weird, but more of the attention comes from the guys. I say that in the best way possible. Guys seem to appreciate good physiques more so than women. I mean, maybe women keep it to themselves, or I don't know, but it seems like more of the guys appreciate it. So
are you getting more response from the guys now that you're in the men's physique pro ranks, as opposed to when you kind of were just like a fledgling bodybuilder?
Yes, definitely. More guys come in asking, I want to look like you. I don't want to be a bodybuilder. It's too big. I don't want to put too much muscle on. So that, in that sense, absolutely, it's a more attainable look. So it's not too big. It's more muscular than an athlete or a fitness model. So it is a more attainable look for most people. So they do tend to go towards the physique look.
Yeah. Now, knowing that obviously, you like to train. You're one of the bigger men's physique guys, up there with Sadiq and Jason Poston. Knowing they're now coming out with this new classic, physique, division next year, where they're going to limit your weight by your height, and they'll be posing, I think, front double, rear double bicep, side chest, and ab thigh, and then pose of your choice. Is this something that you might want to get into? Because it's kind of like you went from bodybuilding to men's physique. Now it's kind of like back to bodybuilding. And would you make that move?
It's something that's in the back of my mind. Obviously, I'm gonna have to sit down with yourself and talk about that. It's got me stoked. I'm really pumped. It's honestly, it just gives you more motivation to go and train harder and maybe even put on a bit more muscle if that's what I need to do.
Sure.
But it does give me new motivation. But right now, I'm focusing on the Olympia, trying to bring my best there. But you guys could see a switch over from my end for sure.
Do you think it's a good move with the organization forming the division? I've been saying this for years that they should be doing it, but because you see in these lineups, even in the pro lineups, there could be 40 guys in a show, and only 10, 12 guys are getting a good look. The rest of the guys are kind of twiddling their thumbs, and some of these guys have good physiques, but they don't look as good standing there. When they hit poses, however, it might be a different story.
Yeah, you know what? I think it's really gonna separate physique from the classic physique. I feel like men's classic physique it's gonna be more superior to men's physique, just because people like to see legs. They want to see the full physique. They want to see the entire presentation up and down, not where half your body's covered. So I think it's going to step above men's physique personally. And
I like it as a guy who critiques the sport, because I can actually now give criticism and say this is good, this is bad, good front double bicep, back double needs work. Before I sometimes I don't even know how to critique the men's physique division, because it's tough, because either you like the aesthetics of what you're seeing, or you don't. And I think it's frustrating for a lot of the guys out there. You happen to be one of the lucky ones who looks aesthetically pleasing when you look at your physique standing there doing nothing. But a lot of guys, they don't really come alive until they move,
Right. Yeah, and I think it's gonna a lot of guys, I hope they've been training their legs, because if they haven't been and putting all their focus in the board shorts, they're going to have to start training this next off season. So
But then again, you have to look at it from another angle. If you're doing so well in men's physique now, like the Sadiqs and Jasons, why switch to another division? Almost you're like, well, I already conquered this division. It's like maybe it's starting over going back to that division.
I personally think it's going to be a step up from men's physique. I absolutely do. I think a lot of guys, like the top guys, the Jasons, the Jeremys, and the Sadiqs, they will transition into this. Like you said, I've heard you say this many times. It's a natural progression from men's physique to go into classic physique. So it's going to be pretty interesting.
It's like going from bikini to women's physique.
Right.
Or women's physique, if you want to make a better analogy, because guys get pissed off when we call men's physique like the bikini of the men's division. But it's kind of, I call it the junior men's division because it's kind of the breeding ground. Here's the question though: will classic physique supplant bodybuilding? In other words, will bodybuilding start to diminish in numbers as guys say, hey, this is a more attainable look. I don't have to get crazy huge. I can do it in a much quicker period of time. I don't want to go to bodybuilding.
Right. Personally, I hope not. I hope it doesn't. Yeah. I mean, that's why we all fell in love with bodybuilding. We appreciate it. We know the discipline, the hard work it takes to look that way. But who knows what could happen. Things are changing. Things are going more mainstream nowadays. But I hope bodybuilding stays alive and it never goes away. And
I don't know if bodybuilding will ever be mainstream, but it's more publicly acceptable maybe because people in the gym see that there's an attainable look now that they can go after. Talk to me what the scene like is in Canada as opposed to the U.S. How would you contrast them? What do people desire up there in Canada look-wise as opposed to what we're looking for here in the United States?
I think they like the judges seem to like the smaller look there, whereas the athletes like the bigger, fuller men's physique look. So that's kind of where that's going, right?
Which is weird because in bodybuilding, the women's bodybuilding and the women's physique, they actually like the bigger, harder girls there.
Right.
Right?
Yeah,
Wouldn't you say that?
Yeah. I think you're absolutely right. I mean, I'll go to some of the regional shows that we have in Toronto, and the guys there, the judges seem to go for the smaller size guys with the more aesthetic look, and the bigger guys seem to be left out, kind of. So, whereas here in the NPC, they like bigger, fuller, harder. Right. Not so much grainy but drier look.
And who knows what it'll be next year because now they're saying they want a 20% reduction in the size of the men's physique guys because they think they've gotten too big. And then obviously the new division would kind of take over for the bigger guys.
Which is, it would be a good transition for those guys, and it would be a good place for them to compete in.
Now, I know everyone wants a win when they go to the Olympia. What would you be happy with leaving Vegas with? What place?
I'd like to get a first call out. That's where my head's at. That's where I want to go. I feel like, I have the size, the conditioning, the fullness, the presentation to be able to step up right up to the top level guys. For myself, my goal last year was to get into the Olympia when I got my pro card. That didn't happen. This year, the goal was set to make it and qualify for the Olympia, which I've done. So I'm thankful for that. But now the new goal is to get in that first call out. So that's where my head's at right now.
Now, we were talking a little early before the show started, and you were talking to us about hockey, how you started in hockey and in Canada, and hockey obviously is a huge sport there. Is there a lot of pressure to be a hockey player growing up in Canada, especially Toronto?
Absolutely. I mean, not just it starts from the parents and it just goes up, and there's so much just everyone pushes their kids into hockey because thinking they're going to be an NHL superstar, right? So you start ball hockey, roller hockey, ice hockey. It just doesn't stop all year round. Guys are playing hockey, and now things are changing where even the hockey kids are getting into weightlifting and trying to put muscle on, and because only a percentage of those guys will actually make it to the NHL.
Did you like hockey?
I did because everyone around me played hockey.
Right.
So I was naturally put into hockey because all my buddies played hockey, and that's all we did. We had our own little leagues with our, mock-up Stanley Cup, and at the end of the year we had trophies, and we kept track record of all the points and assists and all sorts of stuff. Yeah, it was a whole organization. We had a president. It was intense. Like, it was crazy. So that's all we did, right? And then when kids got older and everyone kind of went, their own ways, that's how I got into bodybuilding. And
very proud of your placings this year. Obviously, you were second in Vancouver, once again third Atlantic City, going into the Olympia this coming or next weekend, I should say. Right. It's got to be super exciting for you, and obviously, being in your corner, it's exciting for me as well. I'm living vicariously through your men's physique accolades. And we'll see you, I guess, next Wednesday in Las Vegas. Prejudging for you is Friday?
Saturday at 12:30, I believe, and then finals are
Immediately
shortly
after, right? Yeah.
So about half hour in
Get
between.
it all over.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to peak and then re-peak and just do it all there, all on the same day. So
Best of luck next week.
thank you very much, Dave.
All right, that's it. We run out of time once again here at Live with RxMuscle's March to the Olympia 2015, sponsored by Results Nutrition. I'm your host, Dave Palumbo. We'll see you next time.